Here is how to build powerful front desk agent for a company. Everything starts with a management software. Depending on the business you're interacting with, they might have different CRMs and ERPs. We're using High Level as a centralized hub where everything comes together, and the one prompt is our version of High Level with all automations and workflows built in. But we never pitch it as a standalone software because we're not trying to replace the existing system that the business use. Now, because right now we're talking about front desk agent that usually handles everything through voice calls, we need a software where the actual voice agent will be designed and built. For that, we're using Retell. There is no big player winner in the space right now. Synthflow, Vapi, they are all great. The reason why we're using Retell is because of their workflows. Again, within, for example, the one prompt, we're providing our license holders the few templates on the workflow builds that are created inside the Retell. Obviously, other softwares are developing their alternative ways, but this is what we are standing by right now. And you need to have the engine. All voice AI platforms allow you to create different tools. For the tooling, you can either make an API request directly, which usually is not an option. For example, in Retell, you cannot do that. Or you can trigger the webhook in a software like make.com or N8N, and then there you would do all the data manipulation and then respond back to the Retell with the information that you need. In this specific example, I'm showing you the booking capabilities. Now, there's so many videos on YouTube on how to build booking systems on voice, on Retell and Vapi, and connect it to calendar through different software. I am more talking about the actual system you can sell to other clients or use within your own company. The system and the agent or automation are different things because you need to have a centralized hub and you need to have the interactions between all different communication pieces. So let's go step by step. The first thing that we need to do in the Retell is to connect a phone number. Here it's pretty easy. We are always connecting it through the SIP trunking to Twilio because within the one prompt, and again, so I will call the one prompt high level. It's the same thing. We're using it as an interface. Now within the high level, we are also connecting our own Twilio account. So we're not using the LC connector within that is available through the high level, but rather we are connecting the Twilio account here. And the reason for that is so that we can have an SMS and phone capabilities in one place, because the voice channel is powered by a Retell, but on another hand, the text-based channel through something like SMS is powered by another workflow built in N8N. I was covering it in separate videos few weeks ago. If you want me to go in depth into the text-based and SMS plus voice capabilities, let me know in the comments and I will do that next week. So once we got with the phone number, the next thing is to create a knowledge base. I don't want to pay your attention here too much. It's pretty much straightforward. You'd create a knowledge base and then you would upload the documents. As a side note, you never need to and should input the details like, going into the apple.com website, Control-A, Control-C, put it here, one, and done. You should properly structure the data so that AI has an easy time understanding everything, especially when you're working with complex data pieces. You can do that by going to Firecrawl, scraping the website in the markdown formatting, and then uploading this piece of data in the markdown into the retail knowledge base. So here you can see that this information is now structured. Ideally, you would also go to something like that and say, clean this information up, please. And then you would actually, get a response with the clean data that you will upload to the knowledge base. Now to the agents. I have an appointment booking agent demo set up that I'll explain. Now, so we have the prompt and we have the functions. So these are the two main things that we need to consider. Now, think about this. Because we need to, let's say the front desk agent, one of the main functions besides answering the question is to book an appointment, reschedule, and update them. We have three main functions for, dealing with appointments. We have bookings. Okay, we have bookings. We have reschedules, and we have cancellations. So these are usually cancellations. So usually these are the three main actions that the front desk agent does when it comes to the appointments. But it is not as straightforward as just connecting to Google Calendar and manipulating data there, because you would probably want to connect to the business management software, right? So let's say that, again, it really depends on how the company is structured. You can technically just use high level as a layer and then connect the actual system of the company, like the HubSpot, for example, into the high level, and all the interactions will be done through the high level. So let me give you an example, and we will demo this agent a bit later. But when we are trying to book an appointment, the first thing, so let's say, call and say, hey, I want to book an appointment. What is the first thing that we need to be asked? So it's the time, right? So the time when we are willing to, to show up or to do something. The next thing is the time zone. This is what 8% of the YouTube videos are missing. And yeah, sure, because it's easy. It's easy to miss it, but it's hard to do it accurately. Because if you think about this, when you're dealing with the businesses that serve nationwide or worldwide, you're dealing with multiple time zones, and it needs to be handled. Yeah, sure, it's easy to demo a very simple thing, but if you're dealing with something complex, you need to have a pretty good understanding of the time difference to book it at the right time. So first thing that we're getting asked is the time. The second thing is the time zone. And the third thing is what? The third action is actually checking availability. So here we check if the date is available, right? So we check availability. And then there are two ways to go about it. So when the appointment date and time based on the time zone is available, the next thing that you want to ask is the user info, because we are trying to create a system, okay, not just a stupid agent. This system needs to verify if the contact already exists in our system, and if he does not, usually they will not. It needs to user info, and let's say doesn't exist, doesn't, or does. So does exist. So if the user does exist, it's good. It's just gonna, go to the next step. But if the user doesn't exist, we need to create, okay? So here we need to create a contact, which is a separate function if you think about this. And it's very, very important to have something like that, because from that, you will create actual automations. Guys, just the booking an appointment is 30% of the problem. Another, 60 or what, like 70% is to make people show up, to educate them, to nurture them, to maybe pre-qualify them, pre-sell them something. And you can do that through different workflows and automations. But the person needs to enter the pipeline of automations and so the prospect needs to enter your system. And surely you can build this functionality with the type of the third-party, management software that they use to check for it. But you would still need to use something like high level, where once the prospect books and enters the pipeline and the contact is created, if he's not available, you will start other things. This is the only way you provide the real value to the business and not create some gimmicky automations that you can shill on LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay? Now, so when the user, all this has been captured, so we created the user, now we book appointment, right? So basically, if the user does, we just create an appointment because we have the time zone, we have the time, and the time is available, and we have the user info. So we can create an appointment and attach this appointment to this contact. Here, if the contact is not does not exist, we create the contact and then book an appointment. So it's all good, right? For the reschedules, when the person says, hey, I want to kind of reschedule my appointment. So what is the first thing that we need to do? The first thing is that we need to get the time zone, because, and this might not be as straightforward, is that if the person is in a different time zone, you will say, because here, then once they get the time zone, you get the user info, like the email or the phone number. The phone number is usually not needed because the user is calling from the certain phone number that you can use. But okay, so in the specific demo that I will be showing you, it's the email. So here you'll say, okay, this is the user info, and then what? So then you are actually, check the user details. So you get the user details and you gather all the details about his appointment. And then you say, hey, I found your appointment at, and now you say the time. But what if you need to say the time in the correct time zone of the user, and you need to understand that, of course, technically when creating the user here, you can input in the custom field the time zone of the user, and then you can here retrieve it, so you don't need to ask for the time zone. But usually this is not the case. So then you cancel the appointment, okay? Same thing with the cancellations. Maybe the user has multiple appointments, it's very similar, so, but then you do not, so here you reschedule, okay? And here you would just cancel. So it's the very similar process, but it's divided into different things. By now, I think you got the idea. All this logic is built in the prompt, okay? So here we specify how exactly you want the cancellation process to work, how the knowledge-based retrieval, which is not something that we discussed, but this is a pretty much straightforward guide on how to retrieve information from the knowledge base, how the reschedules work, and more importantly, how the booking process works. Now, let's go into the functions. All these functions come to one end-to-end scenario, which is this. This scenario is getting the webhook. So if you look closely to book an appointment, this is the URL. And it doesn't matter what type of the function we're talking about, all of them have this specific webhook, the production webhook, okay? And the only difference is that they are passing the different parameters or the JSON schema. So let's try to demo the agent so that you can see how it works, and then we will see through the execution history how it was retrieving certain information from certain things. So let's give it a test.
Hey, this is Bob from Normandy Insurance. How may I help you today?
Hey Bob, I want to book an appointment.
All right, happy to help you with that. What date and time works best for you?
Yeah, sure. So can we look at Monday, May 26th at 2 p.m.?
Great, thanks. Could you let me know your city or time zone so I can check available slots for Monday, May 26th at 2 p.m. in your
Yeah,
local
yeah.
time?
So I'm in New York.
Let me check the available slots for you. This should just take a few sections, don't worry. Okay, so there's a slot available at 2 p.m. on Monday, May 26th in New York. Could you share your email or phone number so I can book this for you?
Yeah, so it's Eugene, YouTube at gmail.com.
Thank you for your patience while I finalize your appointment booking. This should only take a moment. All set. Your appointment is scheduled for Monday, May 26th at 2 p.m. New York time. Need help
Thank
with
you.
anything else?
Let's analyze what just happened. If we go to the calendar, you will see that the appointment was booked. As you can see, we have, two different time zones here, and this is the Eastern time zone. So because I said the 2 p.m. and because I said that I am in New York, this is the time zone that it shows. Even though the time zone of our one prompt high level account is different. So if you now go inside the one prompt, you will see, high level, you will see that the contact was created. I will show you how to set everything up. Don't worry, right now it's just an overview. So the contact here was created. We don't have a name, obviously, because the name was not yet provided, but we have the Eugene, YouTube, whatever. Now, yes, sure. When it comes to the emails, it's very important to create the right prompting and use the right functions and syntax on and program it to in a way to re-verify, to spell the emails, to recheck it multiple times, because when it comes to like the emails and the pronunciation is different. That's why for this specific demo, it's not set up, but you can pass, and I'll explain how, you can pass the phone number of the so the number of the caller, like where the AI, the user is calling from. And technically, you can say, hey, can I use this number to verify this information? And you're going to use this phone number to try to find this contact. If this contact was not found, you can use the phone number, because to create a contact inside high level, you need to either have an email or the phone number. Okay? So here you can see that the appointment was created. Okay? So it was already attached. And I can tell you even more that this call, if he would happen from the actual phone number, it would be processed and put into the pipeline. Go to the automations and see what has been already built in the sales system. We'll find we have a lot of different agents, front desk agent, and this automation is first in draft, and second, it will be not properly triggered because we are giving the call from the browser, and we need to have a phone number to then verify the user, if the user is available or not. In our case, it would be able to find the user because in the real use case, we would place the phone number here of the phone number that the user called from. So here, it's doing the post-call processing. And if you get this webhook URL here, you would go into the Retell and plug it into the webhook settings in here. So that's where, after the call has happened, it will trigger the automation. It will try to find the user contact and then update the pipeline. Now let's go to the fun part, to the actual functions. Here's what happened. We got the time, we got the time zone, and then we checked for the availability. So here we ran the get available slots function. Within this function, we are calling this webhook, right? But we are passing, as you can see, the schema, and we're saying, hey, there's an end time, there is a time zone, and there is a start time. So we are passing only this 3 parameters, and we're saying that these are required in order for us to verify the time zone. Then when this is getting triggered, I'm not sure which one was it, so it's probably was maybe this one. Let's see. So if we scroll down, we'll see that we have the start time, the end time, and the time zone. Okay? But the time zone is not something really feasible yet, because we need to understand what is the time within this time zone and then convert it to the time zone that we have in our system. And the way, so these are like all the parameters that are getting passed to this engagement with user agent that has a huge prompt. And by the way, this information will be available in my free resource hub. So I'll have this prompt and I'll have this agent partially, because there's like my API keys, and it's partially only available for the one prompt users, but you can get some access within my free resource hub. So here you can read it carefully, but basically there's a lot of the rads because this information is not provided in the parameters that we're passing from Retell through the webhook. That's why they're in red. But here we can see that we have the time zone and we have the start time. But this is like for the update appointments function. So what we're doing is we are giving this agent access to multiple endpoints as well as one workflow. So the first one is get time zone. This is just a public API for the time. So it's time API, which is getting the time zone, right? So the user time zone that we passed here. And it's just getting, as you can see in the response, it's getting the current time, right? Through this time zone. Okay. Then we are converting this time to the time zone of our high-level account, right? And our high-level account is set up to UTC plus 3, I think, or GMT. Yeah, UTC plus 3. That's why it is getting the current time zone there and is converting it. Okay, so now it's ready to basically check for the available slots. But for the available slots, we do not have the endpoint. We only have the workflow. And the reason for it is because it's just because of how high-level APIs are structured. You need to provide the date in the Unix format. That's why you're getting the date and you're transforming the date into the Unix MX timestamp. And then you're, as you can see, you're getting all the available slots for this day. You're not only checking for this, you're checking for all the slots. So that then, if the slot is not available, you have more options. And you're just returning that. So here, basically, here in the webhook, as you can see, it returned all the slots that are available. And it says that, yeah, sure, it is available. So what happened then? Then we checked for the user information. The user information did not exist because it says that, hey, what's your email? But it did not say that you're not existing in our system. Let me create you. It did it automatically. It's all about the prompt. You can configure it in a way that it will ask for this information, for the permission to create a contact in the system, but usually it's not needed. So when we provided this Eugene YouTube email, right, it was actually creating the contact right away, right, and then booking an appointment. And so if we check it somewhere here, I hope we'll find it. So yeah, so basically it in the webhook, right? So here at the very end, we have the email, the time zone. So we have all the same time. So what we did, and we have name, like the book appointment, because this is the intent. This is the function that actually ran. So we ran the same agent, but through a different function, through the book appointment. And we passed different information because here we're actually providing the user email. So that's why here it got the time zone. It did not check for availability because the slots are available. So we're just having the start and end date. We're getting the user, right? and the user here is not available, it means that we need to then create this user, okay? And then we're actually booking an appointment. And now we're basically done. Same thing applies to the reschedules and cancellations. So if we test it right now, you'll see how the rescheduling flow works.
Hey, this is Bob from Normandy Insurance. How may I help you today?
Hey Bob, can I please reschedule my appointment?
Hey there. Sure thing, I can help with that. Could you let me know your city or time zone so I can get started?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in New York.
All right, thanks. Could you share your email or phone number so I can find your appointment?
Yeah, it's eugeneyoutube@gmail.com.
Thanks for that. Let me pull up your appointments real quick. All right, I found your appointment scheduled at 2 p.m. on May 26th. What new date or time would you like to reschedule to?
Yeah, sure. Can we do maybe May 27th at 10 a.m.?
Okay, got it rescheduling to May 27th at 10 a.m. New York time. Let me check if that slot's available for you. Thanks for waiting. I'm rescheduling your appointment to May 27th at 10 a.m. New York time now.
So as you can see, it is very dynamic. It is time zone agnostic, which is very important. It is so everything is happening through the high level because this is the CRM of this is like the hub. I don't like to call it a CRM because, for example, when we're integrating, like when our agency integrating the solutions that we built on the one prompt, or when our like license holders like integrated to their to the companies and they're reselling it, it's very hard, as I said, to kind of present it as a CRM because the businesses will be very defensive. But if you're like presenting it as a system, and then sure, like here, you can add different functionalities and basically do the same thing for their like Salesforce, NetSuite, what are Pipedrive, right? But you would also double do that with the high level, because within the high level, you would create all other automations and workflows that will actually bring business results. I hope this was valuable for you guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.